The Mitigwakik was a 200-year-old elder, grandfather, and valued person in an indigenous community called Poingasi. The Mitigwakik took the form of a water drum. However, this specific word is animate in Anishinaabe, and therefore is spoken of as if it is alive. The water drum belonged to a medicine man in the community called Namiwan, but was respected as an equal social person. Indigenous ideas of the Mitigwakik being alive provide space to question what we consider to be alive and to have agency, expanding our perspective to living things that are not human. Furthermore, looking at the Mitigwakik and indigenous ways of knowing revealed deeper truths about hierarchies, respect, and harmony with all things. The Mitigwakik was considered alive because of its agency. The reading, Are All Stones Alive?, helps us to understand agency from an indigenous perspective. In previous lectures, we discussed Western definitions of agency, where it is based on individuals' ability to act in the world. More specifically, a Western perspective views agency as the ability to oppose the environment, make changes, or push against established boundaries. For example, if I do not agree with a new policy in my country, I am able to protest and advocate for a different opinion. This limited definition narrows the possibilities of what can be considered to have agency, as it is defined through a human perspective. The water drum does not oppose its environment, nor does it stand up and move, or gain consciousness. Indigenous perspectives are able to consider things to be alive without considering them to be conscious. The Mitigwakik is seen to have agency as it affects its environment in a meaningful way despite having no intentions. Furthermore, the Mitigwakik is considered alive through its social interactions and relationships. The Mitigwakik has a strong influence on those around it, as it has participated in hundreds of years' worth of social interactions. This includes, but is not limited to, powwows, ceremonies, and communal celebrations. The water drum was known to have capabilities of destruction and healing in partnership with humans. The healing capabilities are not independent to the drum, nor are they independent to Namiwam himself. It is the social relational process that both participants engage in that performs the healing. This perspective eliminates ideas of hierarchy, as objects and humans are both able to be considered persons and equal members of a community. By looking at agency in this light, we can see that the water drum is able to perform in the social world when it is given space as a respected member of the community. The reading entitled Writing Balance and Striving for Well-Being in the Andes elaborates on the importance of acknowledging and respecting objects as persons through recognizing their agency. This reading states that one does not act upon things but interacts with them. A key element in Indigenous perspectives of agency is mutual respect. This reading highlights the importance of cultivating an environment of mutual respect in order to live Allen Kause, which means to live well or the good life. Therefore, well-being for people in the Andes means acknowledging and respecting the personhood and agency of objects. This reading also suggests that failure to respect the animacy of these objects will result in negative consequences. Ideas of agency are further cultivated through the reading entitled Indigenous Place Thought and Agency Among Humans and Non-Humans. This reading states that everything is an extension of the land and therefore is infused with its agency. However, this agency can be further cultivated through social interaction. The reading provides insight into real-life examples of failures to acknowledge the personhood and agency of all things, specifically in the ways that humans have treated the land. It reads, Societies were built upon domination over nature because of a perception that human arrangements with the animal world were unnecessary, if not dangerous. For many indigenous peoples, being aligned with the animal world was a position that was treated with respect and honor. This example shows the flip side of agency, where persons and objects are at their most object-like when they are trapped by inescapable obligations of one overarching relationship. This is seen through ownership claims, such as in the case of the Mitigwakik. In the story of the Mitigwakik, the museum's failure to account for the agency and personhood of the water drum resulted in ignorant action. The water drum lost agency when it was imposed restrictions, and others claimed ownership and control over it. One could argue that the once well-respected and powerful water drum would not have been able to perform the same astounding actions as when it was afforded mutual relationships. It is known in indigenous cultures that agency can vary depending on social context, and the Mitigwakik was reduced to its most object-like because of poor social relationships. The Poingassi community was also reduced to their most object-like, as they were labeled Christian and uncultured because they gave a drum to a colonial museum. Although the community was not aware of the colonial roots of museums, their relationship with other communities were tarnished by negative perceptions. The Poingassi community lost their respect and agency, specifically the elders. The story of the Mitigwakik illustrates the unknown agency that we as Western scholars overlook. It provides space to realize that there is more to objects than we allow possible. Further, Indigenous perspectives of agency demonstrate the large potential to improve our lives by incorporating ideas of equality among all living things, including objects. The Mitigwakik, for example, is over 200 years old and therefore has experienced more social interaction than any human. This is why it was afforded a respectful title as an elder in the Poingassi community. Objects affect our environment in ways different than humans. However, this does not mean that they are any less impactful or deserving of respect. The readings addressed have common themes of challenging Western ideas of human supremacy and separation from nature, as everything is an extension of the land, including us. The story of the Mitigwakik encourages readers to learn from persons that may not be human and to remain open-minded as we search for truth in spiritual contexts.